I'm Jeff. This is Allie. And what is this?
Weight coaching.
It's our weight coaching podcast. We're so excited to join us today. And today we're talking about
family vision.
Yes.
Yeah.
Family vision.
Okay, so let's just get right into it.
Yeah.
You're going to have to help me out.
Of this?
Sure.
Yeah, we talked about this. I said I was going to follow her lead, and then I just jump in. So here's the whole idea of vision, why it's important to have vision, okay? So the wisest man to ever live, his name was Solomon, King Solomon. He said this. He said, without vision, people cast off restraint or worse, perish. The idea of casting off restraint. Like think about your family right now in just ultimate chaos because there's no order in your house, because there's no vision of order. You see it? Oh my gosh, it's crazy, right? Or worse, because people don't have a vision, a big picture vision of what life could be and should be. They live for a lesser thing. So therefore, they don't live to their full potential and their potential perishes. So that is the importance of vision.
Well, if that doesn't sound important, then
Dang,
I don't know
right?
what would.
Boom. It's good.
We also were listening to one of our favorite pastors not too long ago. And, you know, he just talked about like he'll go to different churches and they all have their mission statement and their core values and their vision. And like we package all of this stuff up so beautifully for our business, our organizations, but we don't do it for our family. And, you know, I just had a conversation yesterday, like business is great. We love it. We love business. We love building it. We love having purpose and all of that. But if that ever is like comes at the detriment of our family, we will throw that business away in a minute,
Burn it
right?
to the
Your
ground.
family is
Shoot
what's
it in the
most
head.
important. We all believe that. Yet we don't approach it in the same way that we do our business. We're not nearly as intentional with it.
We don't have a clear vision of what we want for a family. So what happens is we end up giving our best years of life to a career or a business that once you're gone, most likely you're not remembered in the effort, time, energy, and life that you gave to that career or that job. The only one that really appreciates it or understands it or knows the full sacrifice is your family. But yet we do it all the time.
Yeah.
And so we need to reverse engineer that, don't we?
Yeah. And, you know, we're super passionate about legacy, and your business and the things that you build are a part of that.
They
But
can be, if done
some
well.
of the longer, most of the time, the longer lasting legacy is your family.
Yeah.
And you look at your family line and the combined impact of, you know, your family and the things that you've instilled in them. And so therefore the things that they go and do and the impact that you all have on the world. And that's the really crazy, beautiful thing. And so we're just so passionate, like, don't focus on legacy only in business and leave behind the thing that really matters, which is your family. Yeah. And when you lack vision, like you said, throwing off constraints, it's so hard to make decisions and to know what direction to go in. You know, when kids are requesting things or you have big decisions to make as a family, should we move? Should we take this job? Should we spend the money on the new house? Like, I don't know. What should we do?
Yeah.
What feels right? When you don't have core values, when you don't have a reason for living, like a greater purpose, and when you don't have clear goals as a family, it's just really hard to feel like you know how to make these big decisions.
Okay, let's take a minute. Let's develop them.
Yeah. And those are really the three major pillars when we're talking about like vision, whether it's for a business or for your family. Those are three major things. There's other things that can, I'm sure, be included. But when we talk about vision, number one, it would be, what are your core values?
Like, what is at your core? I think about this, like when pressure hits, when life hits, if it's survival mode, what comes out? What is at your very core, the essence of who you are? What do you value? Not aspirationally. Sometimes it is aspirational, but like in reality, right? Like they would know. Like in honestly, a great way to know that is, who are the 5 people that are closest to you? Ask them. Say, hey, if I were to ask you what you think are the most important things to me, like to my core, what would you say? And then just listen.
Yeah.
Like, because a lot of times we all have blind spots to ourselves. And most often people that are close to us see that clearly, even though we totally miss it. So that's a great way. That's a great starting point.
Yep. So what are your core values? For us as a family, our core values are kingdom first, stewardship, and connection.
Yep.
And really, core values should shape your behavior,
Yeah.
the way that you interact with people, the way that you lead your life. It should be very behavioral, day in, day out.
Absolutely.
So they're not these big, lofty things that you can't see and observe. Like, you should be able to see those in action every day. So if you're thinking of business or family, that should be number one. Like, what are your core values? Number two, what is your reason for existing?
Yeah.
Like, what is
Why?
your
What's your why?
Like, we're put on this earth. Why do you believe you're put on this earth? And I think, like, you can ask that individually for each, person, and you can have an individual kind of why, like, but it's actually really incredible and really uniting to have one as a family.
And that's something that's interesting. I remember one of my pastor friends mentioned this phrase one time, and it just stuck with me. Said, when you lose your why, you lose your way. And if you as a family are kind of struggling to figure out what's next or struggling to figure out your way, it's really probably because you've lost your why, your purpose, your mission. Like, why are we as a family here on this earth? Like, why were we put on this earth, and what are we to put into this earth, right? And so when you think about it that way, like, what is my unique purpose? Why are we here? Not just individually, because Allie and I have unique purposes as individuals, but bring us together, and oh my gosh, that purpose is unstoppable.
Yeah.
And so then you add 7 kids with that we're intentionally leading to help them discover their purpose, how that adds to our family purpose and what that looks like. It's pretty incredible to think that way and to not just think that way, but actually live your life according to that type of mission, purpose.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. And when you're having conversations like that, as a family, then it's so much easier to now start to bring your kids into what you're doing rather than feel like, here's family, here's,
Everything
my
else.
business or everything else.
Yes.
It's a way to kind of start like melding and bringing them along for the ride a bit. Third thing, your overall goals, like
Yeah.
long-term goals. Where do you want to be in 10 years? And maybe 5 years, 3 years, and 1 year? Like, what are those long-term goals? And then how do we break that down? And what does it look like to start working towards them this year
Yeah.
and in a few years from now? And so that is a huge piece when we're trying to make decisions. We're like, how should we spend this money?
Yeah.
Now we have like a blueprint for financial goals, but also like just things like, hey, we want to have a mountain cabin. So we have a place to go as a family and create these memories. Like, there were special things from our childhood that were like, we want this for our family. So it's not just financial. It's like, what kind of memories do you want to
It's
create? What
experiential.
yes.
Yeah.
And so we have that all detailed out for a 10-year plan. And we hold it loosely. We know that things are going to happen that we totally didn't expect in the next 10 years, but we know like what some of the core dreams and desires are for ourselves and for our kids.
And so what that does by having a 10-year plan, a 3-year plan, a 1-year plan, a 90-day plan, what that does is it creates a sense of vision. Like, you have in mind, oh, hey, in 3 years, we really want to buy this cabin. So what that means is, rather than, like today, me going and buying a bunch of hobby type stuff that takes up my money, my time, my energy, I'm like, hey, I'm focused on 3 years, that mountain cabin. We're going to buy it. Life is going to be X, Y, and Z. Like, we don't sacrifice the future for an immediate sense of gratification.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, in 3 years, this is our goal. So we have clear goals, because what happens is, if you don't have a clear vision, right, what happens is your habits, you cast off restraint. You go and buy the thing that, I probably shouldn't buy it, but, or I probably shouldn't do it, but, or you go on that vacation where you're like, it's a $10,000 vacation. Like, okay, if you want to do that, that's great. If that lines up with your goals, then do that. But you do that every year, that's $30K that could have gone towards a down payment for the mountain cabin. And so you see that, like, that's the idea behind vision, and having a clear vision of what your priorities are and what success as a family looks like.
Yeah. So we really encourage you, take some time as a couple first, and then take some time as a family to really determine what are your core values, what is your reason for being, and what are those long-term goals that you want to start working towards. We do a full day, quarterly planning those things out, making sure we're making progress on them. Like, we take this seriously, and we encourage that you do too. It's going to bring so much life to your marriage and to your family, and just try it out. We really, really encourage you to start doing that. And if you need some guidance, we'd love to help. So Let's Wait Coaching. Thanks so much for joining.